Hello everybody, this is Junaid from the Finance Pro, and today we will learn how to automate the process of cleaning and combining our data from multiple tabs or from multiple sheets in a single file. Now what we have in front of us is a data that is very much disorganized. Now let's just have a look at the data first. In column A, we can see the data entry user A or user B. And both the users have divided the data with asterisk, as you can see in row number 12. In next column, we have products. Now, the product names are there, but there are gaps. There are gaps that need to be filled. And there are cities and their customer first name, customer last name. Okay. Then we have a column where the gender and the contact number is merged in one cell. And that doesn't make any sense though, but well, that's what we have in our data. And then we have our sales data for all the months from July to June if you're following the fiscal year. Now, all this data is available for like 5 years, 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019 and 20. Now, what if I tell you that your boss comes to you and he says, I want to see the sales you made by user A of product 1 for 5 years. Well, you can do the analysis, but that will take some time. So let's have a look at how we can quickly combine our data, clean our data, and analyze it using Power Query and pivot tables. So stay tuned. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll close our file. And now this file is on my desktop. And I'll create a new file. Let's say analysis. And I'll open this blank file. So I've opened this blank file, and inside this file, I will go to data. Now, mind you, I'm using Office 365. So this is the latest and the greatest version available at my PC. So inside data, I'll go to Get Data tab. And from here, I'll select this option from File. And inside this, I'll select this option from Workbook. Okay, so on my desktop, this is the file, data transformation file, and I'll select it. As you can see, we had 5 tabs or 5 different sheets in our file. So as I click over here, now this is the preview window of what is available inside that file. Now this is the preview of the data that is inside the file for all the sheets. Now, if I want to merge all the sheets, instead of clicking any of these, I will directly click the file itself, and it won't give you any preview. Now, what I'll do is I'll click on Transform Data. Now, what the computer will do is open a new Power Query editor where you'll have various options to clean and combine the data and, transform any way you like. Okay, so the only 2 columns that interest me right now are the data itself and the name column. Basically, hidden column is an attribute. It tells me the sheet is either visible or hidden. Okay, it's no use. Item is, the same as the name, so it's a duplicate column for me. And kind tells you if your data is inside the sheet or it's inside the table within that sheet. So all of our data, which I will explain in later videos, that is inside the sheet. So I'll select these 2 columns, and what I'll do is I'll select the option remove all the columns. So what it does is it retains these 2 columns, and it will remove all the other columns that were not selected. Okay, that's great. Now, so what I'll do is I'll click on Add Columns, and I'll go into Custom Column, and I'll create a new column. And I'll write table.promote headers. Bracket open. I'll double click data and bracket close. That's it. Now the benefit of using this command is when I click on this expandable arrow, you can see all my headers are appearing directly. And before I expand this, I will remove this because it's a duplicate column now, because all of my data is inside this table as well. So I will go to the bottom and I'll uncheck this option, use original column name as prefix, and select OK. Now you can see my data has been merged inside one file. First step of combining the data has been done. Now let's just transform it. The name is actually the year, so I will double click the header and I'll rename it to year. That's fine. Well, I don't need these asterisk, so I'll go here and I'll uncheck the asterisk, just like this. Okay, now as you can see that after user A and between user A and user B, there are gaps that need to be filled. Now, if you're in Excel, you can fill this by using the command that is, if this is empty, then this, else, well, this. But in Power Query, you simply have an option to fill down the data. That is, you right-click the column, and it will give you an option here to fill down or fill up. So I'll say fill down. And it will automatically fill the spaces using previous data. I'll do this for the product as well, fill down. Okay. So, well, some things are done. Now, what my boss wants to see is that the name of the customer should be only one, right? He doesn't want the name of the customers divided into two columns. So what I want to do is I want to merge the names of these customers into one column. So using control, I select both the names and I right click and it'll give me an option to merge the columns. It'll also ask me what separator to use. I'll say, well, use a space. And what name you want the new column to be, I'll say customer. Rather than first name or last name, I'll just use the name customer. As soon as I do it, you can see the names have been merged into one single column and the field has been renamed to customer. The next transformation that I want to do is, well, this is interesting. The gender and the contact number is written in one field. What I want to do is I want the gender and contact to be given separately. So I want to split this column by using some kind of a delimiter. So I'll right click and I'll be given an option to split the column by many options. So I'll right click and split the column. I have many options available, but for me, in this case, a simple delimiter would do. Now, as you can see, after M or F means female, male, M means male, there's a space, and after the space, there's this phone number. Between the gender and the number is a space, so that will be my delimiter. So I will split the leftmost. I'll split it the leftmost delimiter, and that is a space. And I'll select this option. Immediately and automatically, it splits the cell into two columns. Now this is the gender column, and this is the contact. Now for M, my boss wants to see male rather than M, so I'll right click and I'll replace the values. I'll search M and replace with male. And similarly, I'll replace the values again. I'll search F and replace with female. So the gender is done here. Okay. Contact number is there, but well, I don't need it in this case at least. So I'll right click and I will remove it. So my transformation has been done now. My data has been cleaned. So, well, let's try and analyze our data. So what I'll do is I'll click on the home button and I'll choose an option, close and load. And I'll have two options here, close and load 2. So let's just choose an option, close and load 2. And let's see what we have. Okay, so what we have is an option to directly export the output of that data to the pivot table or tables or pivot chart, or you can only create connection for the time being. What I want to do is I want to directly view my data into pivot table. So I'll choose this option, just like this. Okay, So as soon as I choose my option, you can see the pivot table has been created. Well, there's something that is well, not right, right? We have the customer, okay, and now I'm not analyzing the data with customer. We have the data entry user, we have the gender, and we have the product name, or we can use the product name here, and year. Well, I'll place the year into slicer. So I go here and select the years. And I like to see my slicers with a small size. Now the only thing remaining here that needs to be entered is, well, the amount itself. So where is the amount? Where is the amount? That is the question. Well, the amount is available, but for all the months separately. April, August, well, December, February. But I don't want my data or numbers to be, given in months. I just want the total that I can analyze. So what I can do is, and what the issue with this data is, and let me just show you what the issue with this data is. I'll go to queries and connections, and what I'll do is I'll load this data for you in a new workbook just to showcase what's the output of this file. Now the issue with our data is that all these months, okay, have different values, and that's fine, but there's no grand total. There's no grand total. That means we cannot view simply by putting the amount in our sheet. The issue is that the data is already in a pivot table form. That is why it's it's categorized into different months. What we need to do is we need to unpivot this data. Okay, let's just go into demonstration rather than explaining, and then you'll understand. I'll go to the data again. What I can do is I can click data, click queries and connection, and I'll double click here. Now this will automatically again open that window again. Now what I want to do is from July to June, that is June, I'll use Shift key and select all these columns. I'll right click and I'll choose an option, unpivot columns. As soon as I do it, you can see the months, instead of being shown horizontally and the values that were in different columns have now been merged into single column. Basically, your data has it may appear that your data has been transposed, but in fact it is not transposed, it is unpivoted. Attribute, well, I'll double click and I'll just rename it months, and the value I'll rename it to amount, and I'll use whole numbers here. That's it. Now what I'll do is I'll just close and load again. You can see automatically the table has been summarized in a better way now. Now if I go to my pivot table, where's pivot table? Well, looks like I need to insert pivot table again. Pivot table. Okay. Now you can see I have all the parameters available now: gender, data entry user, and city. Okay. Now okay, months as well. Now what I can do is I can take the months and the year into the slicer. Okay, just like this. And if I want, I can put the amount in the values, and yeah, you can see my analysis has been well, my analysis is ready. You can shape and dice and do whatever you want with within the pivot tables. But the benefit of using Power Query is what I'm going to show you now. Let's just do a demonstration. I'll go to the original file. Now this is the original file. I haven't made any changes in this file right now, and all the transformation has been performed in another file automatically, right? So I'll go and I'll make a copy, and I'll just rename it to 2021, and well, let's assume I have the same data, and instead of product 2, I have product 7, and product 9. Okay. Now I will simply close this file, save it, and I'll go to my separate file, that analysis file, and I'll go here and I'll simply click refresh all. And now as soon as I click refresh all, you can see that 2021 that wasn't here is now present, and the products, product 7, product 9 is here. That means the data has been automatically and instantaneously fetched the way I want it to be.